Good afternoon, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. And earlier today, I released a video about one of the number one reason why black men are broke essentially, and that was mostly aimed, at the men. But in true fashion, I must address the women as well. The same rules apply for the reason why a lot of black women are broke. It's because our women are laying down and having children with dusty dudes. Okay? Either you're going to get into the high value man, or medium value man, or the low value man. It really doesn't matter. But ladies, you have to have more respect for a child that you may not be equipped financially to bring into this world. Our generation is Generation X, and as we're moving into the millennials, are more informed or more intelligent, and essentially have more respect for that unborn child. So there's a lot of vetting to go on. Now, in any case, that doesn't mean you've done your due diligence and you want to be with this guy and you end up having a child with this guy, and a lot of times out of wedlock you're asking for a whole heap of troubles, okay? And not even getting on the biblical side, which I know that a lot of our race tends to lean on Christianity. But in hindsight, you probably should wait till you get married. That way you have formed some form of contract and or union that in some ways that solidifies a stable relationship, and you have two income versus your one income. Because in the black community, excuse me, phone call, in the black community, black men, the average median income is around $45,000, and the women are around, anywhere between $35,000 and $38,000. Excuse me for the little sun shining on the screen there. But the same responsibility goes to the women as well. It goes to the women as well, because you are making a conscious decision to lay down with a man unprotected. And any time when someone tells me, let me see if I can get this sun out the screen here. I really can't, can I? Sorry about that, family. But anytime you lay down without using contraceptives and also a male condom, a female condom, you are making a conscious decision to have a child. You're making a conscious decision to bring a baby into this world. And what does that do to your finances when you have not formed a union, you have not formed a marriage, and you just have a relationship? I want you to really think about that, because I remember someone telling me, a female telling me, black people, we don't really plan having children. We have love childs, that the children that we have are out of love. That's absolutely false. We have children because we're not having protected sex, or we're having children because we're not planning. Now that we are more informed, we're smarter, we're more conscious, we should really be thinking about how that child is going to affect us. Now, for women who already have children, you are already in a certain situation, and if you are having children and you're not married, or you're not in a really solidified relationship or plans to get married, I mean, really, there's no assurances other than you're in a loving marriage, right? And more so, a lot of our women are now waiting to even start a family into their 30s. And some people argue that's too late. And in some cases, if you look at the, again, 50s, 60s, and 70s, having a child in your 30s, you're definitely in the danger zone because of your age. But anyway, when we talk about the financial obligations and strain that it put on our black women, you have to be more cognizant. You have to be more of a thinker instead of just having a good time, having sex with just whoever, not knowing. And here's the thing, the condom and even the contraceptive is not a guaranteed bet because condoms break. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a man who have used a condom. The condom broke, and I kept going. Let's be truthful. Men, we do this sometimes. Because when that condom breaks, the sensation of that sex intensifies, and most men don't want to pull out. Some people say my pull-out game is strong. That's besides the point. We don't want to pull out, okay? So women, the same obligation of the video and the information I gave you about the men today, that falls on you as well, okay? That falls on you as well. You have the same financial obligation that the men. Whether you want to say it's 50-50 or 100-100, especially when you're not with that female. So let's fast forward a little bit. And let's say you had a child, whether you was married or not. But now you're separated, you're divorced, you're no longer with that person. Guess what? Just because you have the child does not mean all the financial responsibility goes to the male. Yes, I understand. You are clothing, you are sheltering, you are feeding. But whether you guys settle out of court, which in my opinion is the best option, okay? Because I think a lot of times when our relationships in the black community are dissolved, the stereotype, which in many cases are true, there's a lot of drama between the baby mama and the father or the sperm donor, however you want to look at it. Now, granted, I can't speak on those dusty dudes who don't want to have nothing to do with the child. I can understand that they want to have nothing to do with you. But for our children, okay, our future, our lineage, our generations ahead of us, we have to at least be cordial and communicate in order to build that child up. Now, granted, just like the men, a lot of our women are on shaky ground. There's no stability in our community, okay? So before you open your legs up wide and allow that man to enter you, understand there's a high probability of you having a child. Whether you on the depot shot or you got the UAD, IED, I don't know, or he's wearing a condom, or you're wearing a female condom. If you're wearing a female condom, he's wearing a male condom, it can still occur. Okay, and I know a lot of times we just out there having fun, we're just out there dating, because if you look at the statistics are showing that black men are marrying at about 5 to 8% higher than our black women, because women are now acting like men in the sense of dating. First of all, women in most cases than not were more respectful about their bodies and the way they went about dating and laying down with men. But now it's all wide open. Now women are now just as promiscuous as the men. So what occurs with that, what women do not understand, that there's a high percentage of men who are having all the babies. More times than not, when a guy has been sleeping around, he's having more babies than a regular guy. And what am I talking about? So according to our population, there's a small amount of men who are literally having all the babies. That's why you're like, oh, he got 3 babies, he has 4 babies, he has 5 babies. If you know this information, you have to put that part of the equation when you're about to lay down. When you was in a club and everything is great, he's handsome, you're gorgeous, he smells good, you guys are popping bottles and having drinks and having a good time, and you want to take him home and he wants to take you home, and you guys feel the lust, you feel the energy, you guys are vibing, you guys connecting. You still have to take into account that one good night can turn into 18 long years. Oh, yes, it can. 18 long years. See, my son is from my high school sweetheart. I think we was together roughly about 4 years. But again, I had a child out of wedlock. There was no stability. And then I went off to college and I went off to the military. But there I was, my son without a father, even though that I was paying child support. But there he was by himself, me traveling the world, and his mom taking care of him. I had to pay child support. So here she is, a single mom, somewhat struggling, as far as I know, with my son. And the only obligation I had was seeing him when I can and having uh, financial responsibilities. Okay. Had another call. Okay. And she needs WIC. It's an indicator, it's a ping, it's a mark, it's an alert for that city, that state to put that man on child support. And also, you single dads out there, vice versa. Because I know some single dads with their kids because their mother ain't work. Matter of fact, two of my best friends are single dads. One of my friends, he's taking care of two of his sons, and another guy's taking care of his one son. So these are all things that we need to actually understand. I know a lot of times when the woman has a child, she feels as though that the man should do more. And here's my opinion, something that I was forbidden to actually do. I wanted to take care of my son. I believe that regardless of how much you love that your young son, if you have a good man, and just because he cheated on you, he hit you, uh, and I hate to say that because I don't believe in abusing no woman, but that doesn't mean he won't be a good father or he's not a good father. But a lot of times those personal emotions of yours, because you hate his gut, he cheated on you, he took some money from you, I know are not showing good qualities. But then again, you truly don't know if he'll be a great father. It's a chance. It's like you don't know if you're going to be a great mom, especially if this is your first child. This is one of the main reasons why a lot of our men are growing up to be beta males. This is one of the reasons that I believe that a lot of our men in the black community are going to be gay, because they come from single mothers. I'm not saying single mothers raised gay men. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when young boys are raised by their mothers, they take on mannerisms and the emotions of their mom. You will notice a guy is totally different when they have the dad inside the home. They're totally different versus a single mom. She's struggling financially. She's doing this, that, and the other. And a lot of times these sons are raising themselves because they don't have that two-parent household. They don't have that male and female. That father shows him how to take a woman out on a date. In order for a man to understand how to take a woman out, how to date and be polite and courteous and be a gentleman, he needs to learn that from a man. But what you're getting nowadays, you're getting men just as emotional as the women. Why is that? Because more times than not, they're being raised by single mothers. And a mother is a mother. She's a nurturer. She's it's inherently in her. It's in her essence. It's in her beings. It's in her energy. So we have to understand how this plays a role in that child's life. So ladies, beautiful black women, queens, you guys have to be very discerning of who you're sleeping around with, who you're opening your legs up to. It is imperative that every single time you lay down and you allow a guy to penetrate you, that it's a possibility, we either be strong or weak, of you having a child that you have to at least by law take care of for the next 18 years. Stop thinking that it's solely on the man because you have custody of the child for him to support that child 100%. Now, granted, the argument here is he's taking care of the child 100% because you have custody of the child. But let me tell you, ladies, this is the one time that I agree with 1% of what Steve Harvey said, and it goes with the title of his book. Think like a man, act like a woman. I want you to be logical. In my opinion, male children are better off with their dad, especially if he's a good guy. Now, granted, here's the thing. Good people do bad things. So whatever he has done, and you guys are warring against each other, the two things you guys have to do for that child: be cordial and communicate. Regardless if you guys are going to settle out of court with a particular monthly payment of finance, or you take them to court. But here's my thing. I'm going to advocate for the men here that you allow them to take custody of that child. Now, what women do not want to do is give custody to the man and she start paying child support. For some reason, in our current court system, when it comes to child support, the court system over 90% of the time gives women custody of the children, regardless of the sex. I believe daughters belong with their mom. This is if the relationship is dissolved. This is if the marriage is, if you got divorced. Most of the time, the female children need to be with their mom and the male children need to be with their dad. There's certain things that they need to learn from the same sex. There's certain difficult conversations that single dads are having with their daughters. And there's certain things that, the dad essentially is very difficult or hard to teach that child, to teach that female child. More times than not, men are two things. We're logical and we're analytical. We do have emotions. We can sometimes be emotional, but a guy, more times than not, are more logical. We may get into an argument every now and again, but a level-headed man, we calm down quicker. We look forward. We look towards the future, and we say, okay, hey, I'm arguing like a female now. We're going back and forth. You be, you this, and this, that, and the other. And I don't believe that our men should be cursing out our women. Again, men, we have more self-control. It's inherently in us. This is the way we are. I want our community to do better. But we have to understand the value in being very cautious of sleeping around, very cautious of bringing a child in this world. It's at least an 18-year obligation. 18 years. 18 years. Think about that. 18 years, ladies. 18 years, men, of you paying a monthly payment of a child that needs your nurturing, your time, your resources in order for them to survive in this world. If you're not willing to give up 18 years of your life, your freedom, your money, your time, then you're not ready to have sex. See, I wish my father was around when I was born, because maybe he would have told me this: wrap it up or strap it up. Meaning, wrap it up when you're having sex or strap it up and wait till you're married to have a child. Because if you're not with that woman, then you have an 18-year financial obligation. See, the thing here, guys, ladies, I want to be very explicit that the obligation financially is 50-50. 50-50. Ladies, stop thinking because you have provided a home for that child that everything else falls to the men. Now, somehow, some way, the court has a system of percentages of how much a man makes and how much essentially it needs. And that falls on that. That's why I tell men, hey, listen, the best thing you can do is stop arguing with your son's and daughter's mother and settle out of court. Then again, if you settle out of court, then guess what? You can't be like, oh, well, you know, this month, my money funny. No, your money can't be funny. You have a child. And vice versa. Ladies, if your significant other that you have the child with has custody of that child, then guess what you can't do? Your money can't be funny. You can't be like, well, you the man, you supposed to do this, that, and the other. No. You had to lay down and come get it. See, that's the thing that in our community that we don't believe that the financial responsibility belongs to both parties. Ladies, it does. It does. Ladies, it does. Some of you just want to sit home or go to work or whatever and receive a large check from that man that you no longer love, that you no longer like. And some of you, I'm not going to even get into all the, oh, well, I'm not going to let him see his son until he pays a child support payment. Now you're playing with the child's life. What if I don't want to give anyone an excuse. I know I don't want to be rambling. I don't want to give nobody an excuse. But what we need to understand, ladies, is that child support in our community are making everyone broke. Everyone. Because here's the thing. Think about this, ladies and men. If you guys got into a relationship and every single time you guys lay down, you know, either you was on birth control or he wore a condom or both, right? To lessen the chance of you guys having a child until you guys got married. Then you have a more solidified relationship, legally binding. Now it's time to have a child. But we out there, you know, you're in the club having a great time. You at the bar, this, that, and the other. You see the fine thing. You start dating her. You're dating her 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. Next thing you know, you have a child. Eventually, you get comfortable with each other, don't you? You know, after about, let's be realistic, after about 6 months to a year, you start getting real comfortable. The condoms start coming off. You start taking your depot shot and your UAD, whatever you call it. I'm just going to call it UAD for now. Next thing you know, a baby comes along. And the whole entire relationship changes. He stopped calling you. You stop calling him. You tell him, I'm pregnant. At first, he may be excited, or he may be like, damn. Or you might be like, damn. I don't know if I want to have this child. And in the Black community, the one thing we hate to do is what? We hate to abort children, right? Because a lot of us, our faith leans on Christianity. I'm not going to get into religion. You know how I am about that. But nonetheless, you guys have the child. Now, I'm not going to be an advocate for, you know, pro-choice or pro-life, whatever. But let me ask you this question. Let's take, for instance, for a scenario that you lay down with this man, you get pregnant. You don't have the financial means, and you know he don't have the financial means. Because more times than not, when guys show you money, they don't have money. More times than not, he got the nice car, nice clothes. That's where his money is. And vice versa. Men, when you see this lady out there with these, she looking nice. She got all the designer clothes on, this, that, and the other. She got the club shades on, the eyelashes, the hair, that takes money. That takes money. Okay? Guess what? You have that child, your entire world changes. The amount of money that you would have received, the amount of money that you would have saved, the amount of money that you would have invested is now wiped away in an instant. Soon as you have that orgasm, as soon as you bust that nut inside, 18 years, think about it. Now, sometimes you guys get away. She didn't get pregnant that time, or you pulled out. or she pushed you off. You about to come? Oh no, oh no. Plan B didn't kick in, or you guys are too drunk, too high. Plan B didn't kick in. Then you have a child. You guys are both financially obligated to take care of that child for at least 18 years. And guess what? At 18 years, the child is not ready to be on their own. See, I started looking at other cultures and looking how their children are actually ahead of our kids because they stay in the home longer. And for some reason, the black community, 18, get your ass out of here. You talking to me crazy? Get your ass out of here. But at 17 and 16, they was talking to you crazy. You corrected them. And here's the thing, we should really be nurturing, informing, educating our kids. And I believe that a child nowadays, I used to be 18, then I changed to 21. Now I'm about around 25 years of age. They get out of college around 21 or 22, depending on their degree or trade or certification program. And we should allow our kids to save up money. We should allow our kids to get all the credentials, okay? Now, granted, they got a little side job. You say, hey, listen, so you can help them to understand how bills work and making money and spending and this, that, and the other. Give me $200 a month. I'm just saying, but we don't want to take their whole paycheck. And again, I'm not trying to give you parenting advice, and since I am, but I want our kids to be at the forefront. But we can't have kids if we're not right. Ladies, you know you're not emotionally mature to have children. Don't have these damn kids. Because living in a system of white supremacy here in America, our kids are already at strike two. Strike two. And if you have a black man, women are more likely at strike 1.5, but black men are strike 2. And if you're not financially stable, emotionally ready for that child, chances are he's going to end up dead in jail before his time. Chances are there's a couple of us that slipped through the cracks, because my story is I shouldn't be here today. If I died today, I lived a wonderful life. If I died tomorrow, I lived a wonderful life. Statistics shows that Raymond Ross should not be here today. My mother did cocaine, but she eventually died at the age of, was it 33, between 33 and 35, because of lupus. I was 12 years old when she died. I lived with my aunt. She was a drug dealer. I end up in a group home, living the rest of my days in a group home. I don't suppose to be here. Statistics show that an inner city boy from Washington, D.C., living up in the system should have been to jail, prison, or dead. But I did none of those. I was lucky. And it all stems from the environment and the household that I came from. Sometimes we can't decide on the environment that we lived in because that's based upon our income. But you should know when you are financially ready, emotionally ready. More times than not, those are simultaneously the two things that you need to be ready with. You need to be financially and emotionally ready. Ladies, you just can't open your legs for everybody. Men, you just can't dive deep in everybody. Because here's the thing. I know there are some dusty dudes out there, okay, who will not get a job so they don't have to pay child support. The median income for black men, $45,000. The median income for black women, $35,000 to $38,000. What you gonna do with that? You're barely making it. You're in a 1-bed, 2-bedroom apartment. How the hell are you gonna bring a child in this world and expect them to be successful? And I might do a video just talking about parenting. Not that I have a plan on how you should parent your children, but there are some things you should be doing with your children. And you can't do that if you're working 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs. All the nurturing and caring that you must do. So when you think about your paycheck, when you think about your income, when you think about your payroll, think about the child that you would have had, the child that you now have, and the reason why your ass broke. Ladies, gentlemen, I just want us to do better. And sometimes, men, Kevin Gates' song, one of my favorite rappers, not always, ethical. He has a song, Thinking with My Dick. Thinking with My Dick. That's the name of the song. And we can relate to that because that's what we do. We see a big butt and a smile, and the only thing you think of is with your dick. And ladies, whether you think he's the handsomest, sexiest man on earth, or he's giving you that show money, nice car, nice clothes, got the swag, he on fleek, whatever you guys are using, doesn't mean he's emotionally or financially ready. Some men are financially ready, but they're not emotionally ready. Why won't you be part of your son's life? Why won't you be part of your daughter's life? He wasn't ready, and neither are you. He wasn't ready, neither are you. So this is something to think about. And whether you are 18, 20, 25, 30, in your 40s, and you don't have your tubes tied, burnt, cut off, and you don't have a vasectomy, men, you can still have a child at 40. You can still have a child at 45. So, ladies, be very cognizant and aware of where you sleep or where you put your back on. Where you sleeping at tonight. And men, be very cognizant, be very aware and alert who you stick your dick in. I'm just saying something to think about. You guys have a great day. I'm out.